So we've got Mary Smith here, and we're going to add a quick simulation. The basic use case is this is a new client that you're going to assess their current portfolio and see if you can do a little bit better than what they've currently got. So you name the simulation, you'll see it's in the tab bar at the top. You're going to add a product. You're going to name this your existing life savings. And you're going to go select their current portfolio, which we've pre-populated. We'll talk about the model builder in a little bit, but we've preloaded it for today. You'll see it. The asset allocation will produce about a CPI plus 3% return based on historic asset allocations. You'll see the asset allocation is about 20% equity, 75% bonds, and 5% cash. It comes out at about a low equity fund. We're also going to put in R1 million for this current portfolio. And then we are going to add some fees. We're just going to put a 50 basis point advisor fee. You can put many different other fees, but we're also going to put a platform fee of 20 basis points, and you'll see the fund fees automatically populate. And then you'll see that we've got an overall fee of 1.29 including VAT, and that'll include all the fees in those fields. So we've put our investment in. Now we need to say, well, how much money do we want to take out every month? We're just going to keep it simple and say we want 5,000 Rand a month. We're going to grow it by inflation and keep it pretty stock standard to start with. There are a whole bunch of advanced options that we can play around with, but we'll get back into that in a second when we go into the into the next simulation. So we're ready to simulate, and so hit the simulate button, and then you'll see we end up with a success rate. In this case, this situation does not look great. We're almost certainly not going to have enough money. As you can see, all the values at the end of the simulation period are just about zero. If we bring up a little bit more detail, we can see the different paths that this portfolio has traveled. We run 1,000 different simulations, and then we summarize it by showing a high, middle, and low road. We also stick in the linear road there just to give you a base point of what of the old whale chart, as they used to call it, which should be familiar to many of you. And now we add an uncertainty, and we can see how you can get very wide outcomes with the same set of assumptions. You can also export all the data. You can export it to Excel. You can see the different roads as well, and you can you'll see the non-linear capital return and the income return coming through. So this is where we don't assume the same returns every year. We use an algorithm to do a Monte Carlo simulation. We've also got a whole bunch of different whole bunch of extra outputs. We're just going to save quickly. So you obviously, as the advisor, want to do a little bit better than this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a new simulation, and the easiest way to do that is to actually copy the simulation. So what it'll do is it'll take an exact copy of the existing simulation, which means you don't have to re-input all the inputs. You can just change what you need to change. It'll be quite quick, as you'll see. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and put them in another one of our models. We're going to select the high equity model, which takes our average return up to almost CPI plus 5. We're going to leave our fees as is. This obviously has a slightly higher asset management fees, but that's just the funds that we have selected. Then we click simulate, and you'll see our chances have gone up to almost 60% now, and that's pretty much a change in asset allocation, being a little bit more aggressive. We can see we now got bars on our chart here, and the portfolio balance chart looks a lot healthier. And we obviously still have a low road that could turn out quite badly, but at least we can plan for this ahead of time. And now we're going to look at our withdrawals. So what can we do to actually make this a little bit better? We can pull a few different levers. What we're going to first do is we're actually going to do a discrete, we're going to change the cash flow up until or for the first 5 years of retirement. And then we're going to change the growth rate for those first 5 years just to 2% a year. I've just chosen 2%. There's no particular reason. You can make it whatever you want. And then we're going to add an additional cash flow. And as you'll see, the first one is the initial withdrawal. So for the first 5 years, and then we're going to do the long-term withdrawal. And what we're basically doing here is we're building what's called a withdrawal strategy. So we giving ourselves options, to try different withdrawal strategies. So we're going to start this at age 73 at the end of the 5-year period, and we're going to do it to the end, and we're going to grow it by inflation. I'm just going to go change this back to 72. Sorry, I added an extra year by mistake there, so it should be to 72. And then we're going to close that, and now we're going to run and see what effect this has on our simulation. Okay, so it's helped and taken up a few percentage points. And the other thing we're just demonstrating that you can work through with your client different, options. I mean, for example, here we're changing it down to 4,000 Rand to start with. And maybe if we could speak to our clients, say, if we could just tighten our belt at the start, we can increase our chances of success. The other thing we're going to do now is we can also do, only 80% of inflation increases. And what I'm just showing here is not that these are the right answers, is that you can pull different levers to, design a withdrawal strategy appropriate for your clients. And so that's, in this case, we've done a few things. Yes, we have, had to reduce income where appropriate, but we've now got a much more favorable outcome. I just want to say success rates on their own are not necessarily the be all and end all. They must